Episode 5. The Looming Deal. Whispers of power, shadows of resistance. Behind the grand marble walls of the Capitol, whispers of change stirred the air. The pumpkin president-elect's team worked late into the night, crafting a document they called the Budget Reconciliation Package. To most, those words sounded harmless, even boring. But the truth hidden within was far from ordinary. In hushed voices, advisors explained, reconciliation is like a shortcut, a way to pass laws without needing a big agreement in Congress. With just a simple majority, we can push it through. The pumpkin president-elect sat lounging in his oversized chair, barely glanced at the stack of papers before him. "Make it bold," he commanded, his orange-tinted face glowing in the dim light. "Tax cuts for the richest. Deregulate those annoying industries. Tell the people it's all for their freedom." The advisors nodded, though unease flickered in their eyes. Freedom? They thought silently. Freedom? For whom? Far from the gleaming corridors of power, a different kind of gathering was taking place. In libraries, church basements, and small homes, we the people met in secret, their voices quiet but determined. News of the reconciliation package had leaked, and the truth was devastating. They're cutting taxes for billionaires while slashing programs for schools and healthcare, said a teacher, her voice trembling. What will happen to our children? They're calling it a victory, added a farmer shaking his head. But for whom? The room fell silent as the weight of the moment pressed upon them. Then slowly resolve began to build. "We march," a young woman said firmly. "On January 18th, we march to the Capitol. They need to see us. They need to hear us." Plans unfolded like roots spreading through the soil. Strong, steady, and unstoppable. Flyers were printed, rides were organized, and messages of unity filled the air. But their journey would not be easy. Propaganda painted them as troublemakers. Resources were scarce. Still, they pressed on their hope like a small flame in the dark. High above the chaos, in a sleek glass tower that seemed to touch the clouds, Red Star watched the unfolding drama. His world was one of sharp edges and cold precision, far removed from the struggles below. Yet even he couldn't ignore the rumblings. The reconciliation package held treasures for him. Tax cuts for his tech empire and loosened rules that would let his businesses grow unchecked. But Red Star, ever the strategist, saw risks too. Too much unrest is bad for innovation, he murmured to himself, tapping his fingers on his desk. From across the room came a small voice. "Daddy?" It was you, his curious 4-year-old son, clutching a toy rocket in one hand. He lined up the tiny rockets in a neat row, then flicked one with his finger. "Boom," said you, watching as the others toppled over like dominoes. "That's what happens when one falls." Red Star leaned back, a small smile playing on his lips. "What do you mean?" The boy shrugged, his big eyes fixed on his toys. "Bad plans make everything crash." For a moment, the room was quiet, the child's simple words hanging in the air like an omen. As the pumpkin president-elect prepared for his next rally, the world outside seemed to hold its breath. On the surface, all was calm. His supporters cheered, their flags waving high. Inside the Capitol, deals were made, hands were shaken, and confidence filled the air. But beneath the surface, tension was bubbling like a pot ready to boil over. We the people grew stronger with each passing day, their plans sharpening like the edge of a blade. In the shadowy halls of power, alliances formed and fractured. And far away in the hazy distance, a darker force stirred. Silent, watching, waiting. The pumpkin leader, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around him, rehearsed his speech with a grin. "We're making history," he declared to his reflection. Perhaps he was right, though not in the way he imagined. And so on the edge of the unknown, as the storm continues building, its winds whispering of change. Will the pumpkin president-elect's grand plan succeed? Will the marchers find their voices heard? And what of the small child with the big warning? The stage is set, the players are ready, and the tale is far from over. Stay tuned for the next chapter.